So we want to look at the impact of COVID-19, especially in the inclusive insurance, generally, and the insurance market. There are a number of ways in which COVID has impacted both the supply side and the demand side of the insurance market. Now let's look at some specific ways. First of all, it has increased awareness of a range of risks or increased awareness on demand for certain insurance products, such as health, such as business interruption, and such as income protection. These are products that have been there but have been restricted to especially the conventional side of the market. The pandemic has raised awareness about the need for the low income to have access to such products to protect themselves under such circumstances. The pandemic has also led to reductions in new sales and renewals, of course, because it has restricted face-to-face movement and has restricted gathering of people in the same places, face-to-face engagement. There have been reductions in new sales and renewal of product. A more immense impact is coverage gaps that have come up. So it has been identified, it has been realized that even though there are products, insurance products that seem to cover certain risks, there are gaps in those products that need to be addressed. So let's say, for example, a product usually called hospital cash. This is mainly or usually an income protection policy to protect policyholders who usually fall sick, and therefore spend time in the hospital. Whilst they are sick and are spending time in the hospital, they are unable to attend to their business. So really, the policy offers them some lump sums per day for each day that they spend in hospital. You can see this from two sides, making up for the expenses at the hospital, but more of it is protecting them against the income they are losing from not being able to attend to their business. Because as you can see, the compensation they are getting is a flat sum per day and doesn't depend on how much they actually spend at the hospital. But what are the gaps here? The gap is that these people have to actually fall sick and be admitted in hospital for a certain number of days to qualify for this. Now, in the case of COVID, they may not necessarily fall sick, but they cannot attend to their business. Therefore, they are losing income. But because they haven't fallen sick and because they have not been hospitalized, they don't qualify for a payout. There are other gaps in other products, such as business interruption gaps, which have been identified, which have come out. The pandemic has brought out and are currently receiving attention from both practitioners, academia, and consumer groups. Some of these cases have even ended up in court and have resulted in some court judgment. Now, there's an increased focus on the need for business interruption insurance. I already talked about that and the gaps that it has. So usually business interruption compensates businesses for things that interrupt their business. But traditionally, a lot of the business interruption policies that you find covers insurance products are linked to fire insurance. In other words, the business interruption has to be caused by a property damage or something that fire has damaged in order to qualify for business interruption. There is the need to take another look at that and look at other instances, insurable instances, which could disrupt businesses, interrupt businesses, and therefore should qualify for business interruption insurance. Now, COVID has also accelerated digitalization in the insurance space because the restrictions on face-to-face interactions means that there's the need to look into the possibility of doing remote business through digital means. Indeed, the issue of digitization was there before the outbreak of COVID. COVID has catalyzed it. And so one impact of COVID has been the acceleration of digitization in financial services. Now, there are also perceptions of insurers not supporting customers during a crisis. And a lot of people are of the opinion that even though certain insurance policies don't specifically cover some of the risks posed by the pandemic, insurance companies need to be more supportive and see how they can adapt to accommodate the needs of consumers, especially at the point when they are most vulnerable. But you weigh this against the prudential strength of insurance companies because these result in payout, and you need to weigh this against availability of resources to match the payout such that insurance companies can still remain strong to provide the services that they provide. They are there to provide. There's an uncertain long-term impact in the microinsurance business case brought about by pandemic because some of the low-income people, as has been pointed out already, have not been able to benefit for substantial benefits from the policies that they hold, or if those benefits are paid out, it may impact rather negatively on the financial strength of the providers who are providing those services. And as has been mentioned already, the pandemic has also proven the case for both use of technology that is increasing and making it even easier, or making that's actually facilitating inclusiveness because people who had other barriers that digitization can remove are now getting better and more efficient access to financial services. So earlier on, these are some of the impacts that COVID brought. We will look at some others that have emerged later on as COVID broke out across the globe and how it has impacted the insurance and the inclusive insurance market.